Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika,
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic and the First Lady, Your Excellencies, representative of the diplomatic corps, the ladies and gentlemen, representatives of the survivors of genocide, Avega and Ibuka. We are here at the Gisozi Memorial, where we are gathered to commemorate for the 31st time the genocide against the Tutsi. We'll first lay a wreath on the grave, then there will be a lighting of the flame that will last 100 days.
We are laying wreaths in countless memorials and graves throughout the country and abroad in remembrance of the lives lost. Reka nsabe military band.
I will request the military band to lead us in this commemoration.
Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika,
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic and the First Lady, please move forward and pay your respects to the victims of the genocide against the Tutsi.
May I now invite Your Excellency Charity Manyeruke, representative of the diplomatic corps, to step forward and pay your respects. Hakurikiyeho Perezida wa Ibuka Bwana.
Then Mr. Filberga Kwenzire for Ibuka and Immaculée Kayitesi for Avega. Please move forward and pay your respects to the victims of the genocide against the Tutsi.
Tugiye gufata umwanya wo kuzirikana abazize Genocide.
We will take a minute of silence.
Murakoze kunamira abazize Genocide yakorewe Abatutsi.
Thank you. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic and the First Lady, give you authorization. Let us move to the eternal flame, the flame of remembrance. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic and the First Lady, this flame that you're going to light is a symbol of the courage of Rwandans on their path to reconstruction since we left the darkness of genocide as we face a bright future. Excellency, the President of the Republic, please move forward and light for us the flame of remembrance. This is the flame of remembrance, the flame of life. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic and the First Lady, this flame will last 100 days here at the memorial. The program for today's commemoration will continue at the reserved space. Please let us rise and welcome the President of the Republic and the First Lady. Thank you. You may sit down.
Madam.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic and the First Lady, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, good morning. My name is Kwizera Urindo Esther. I will be the Master of Ceremony for today. On this 7th of April, 2025, we are gathered here to remember for the 31st time the victims of the genocide against the Tutsi that took place in 1994. We are remembering more than 1 million victims. This will give them back the dignity that were taken away from them. We will take this opportunity to remember the history that led to that dark chapter in our history. Let us rise for a moment and remember our people.
Murakoze.
Thank you. We have decided to speak the truth about our history, although it is a dark one. Mr. President, please allow me to invite the Minister of National Unity and Civic Engagement, Mr. Jean Damascene Bizimana, who will tell us a few things about our history. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic, I thank you for this opportunity for me to give this presentation as we commemorate the genocide against Tutsis. a genocide that is rooted in the colonialism that instilled and spread ethnic division and led to the genocide as the world was watching. This historical analysis will show that there's no other country that has spent 109 years targeting another for destruction like Belgium has done Rwanda. It all started in 1916 when Belgium, Germany, and the UK decided to downsize Rwanda from its territories from King Ruganzu's day and Kigeli Nyamuheshera's days in 1600 and to 1692. That included the territory that included Masisi and Rutshuru to what Rwanda is today. There are decrees and laws that followed, including that from March 2019, with the laws about whipping the citizens, and the one from July 2025 that decided to withdraw Rwanda's sovereignty, including another law from January 1926, deciding that Rwanda would be ruled by Congo's rule. That was also decided by Belgium. Those laws were dividing Rwandans. Between 1924 and 1946, Belgium had an agreement with the League of Nations. Rwanda was under its trusteeship, and it stated that Belgium was to promote political and economic and social progress of Rwandans, self-governance and development and education, and respect of human rights without any discrimination. It wasn't done. Rather, Belgium promoted division like what they had between French-speaking and the Flemish, and they brought what they called a revolution in 1926 to 1932, led by two Belgians, Mr. Voisin and Mortehan. They expelled King Musinga in November 1931, and they replaced him with his son after 4 days. King Mutara Rudahigwa decided not to oppose the Belgians. He got baptized, and he also dedicated Rwanda to Christ the King. Pope Pius XII rewarded him with a ring that he gave him in 1947. And the Belgians then allowed him to make some decisions, but he decided to keep the independence of the country. Governors Youngers and Brother Secundian, who were directors of a school in Butare, were very angry with him. They decided to poison him on 25th July 1959. Your Excellency, there's no other African country whose two countries were killed by the colonialists. Belgium decided then created Parmehutu political party with 4 manifestos. In October 59, August 1961, and June 1964, and June 1969. All those were saying that the country belonged to the Hutus, that killing a Tutsi was now institutionalized and illegal based on that politics. From November 1959, Colonel Logist was who was sent in Rwanda from the Congo with his deputy as Major Marlier. They give him the military to make sure that Parmehutu took power. In November 1959, Colonel Logist decided to expel Tutsis, relocate them to Bugesera in 1969. At the end of that year, 13,890 Tutsis had been removed from their homes and were sent to Bugesera. They pleaded to go back home. Belgians refused. Some Tutsis who tried clandestinely to move to other provinces were expelled from Belgians. In August 1960, Nyanza administrator called Emmanuel de Jamblin wrote to the chiefs, give them instructions to expel the Tutsis, saying some people were expelled from Gitarama province and are trying to settle in Mayaga. Kick them out. None of them is allowed to settle in Mayaga or Nyanza province. They have to go to Bugesera. You should enforce these laws. Their cows should be expelled too. In November 1969, chronologists, under the advice of Bishop Perrodin, convened administrators, ordered them to expel Tutsi civil servants, replace them with Hutus, in a communique that he sent to all the officials in December 1959. He said that this was to allow Hutus to be ruled and governed by their own people. UNAR, political party that was fighting for independence, they said it was a Tutsi party, and they fought them, and the Christian, the Catholic Church fought them because they said they were communists. You know, its president, its secretary were from different categories of the population. And in June 1961, Belgium gave a decree to release from prison 2,000 killers who had killed between 59 and 61, saying that those who were being released are those who had committed the following crimes: killing people and burning houses down and burning Tutsis inside, people inside the houses, killing people or torturing them, and looting or killing. That ethnic division spread even into the military under Colonel Van Straten. Together with Colonel Logis, they said how it would be done. And they wrote this report in 1960. The army will be made up of Hutus exclusively. We don't need to be impartial or democratic to integrate any Tutsi. Tutsis who will want to enter the army, we will say that they are incapable. Even though this is unjust, we can't mix goats with cabbage and to integrate people who will create us problems. Belgian intelligence expressed concerns and wrote this on April 30th, 1961, saying this: in Rwanda, the army that is exclusively Hutu, when they work, what they put forth is they being Hutu instead of being professional. We believe that they are not fit for the security operations. This went on until General de Cumont, who was a high-ranking officer in Belgium, wrote this to the Ministry of Defense in 1961. He said, these politics of giving the Rwandan army the responsibility to protect borders and ensure security in the country means that in case they commit crimes that the UN might define as genocide, we might end up being accused of a complicity. In March 1962, the Rwandan army started killings in Byumba, killed more than 2,000 Tutsis, including an assistant medical doctor, Clavin de Jouro. It was written in international newspapers. In December 1963, the Rwandan army, under Belgian officers Dubois, Florquin, Turpin, and France, killed many Tutsis in the country, more than 35,000. Diplomats, missionaries, civil servants, many people, including newspapers, confirmed that it was a genocide. There are several examples. The Belgian ambassador's telegram of 24th December 1963 said this: there are people who are being put in jail illegally. And I believe that if you look at this, this is murders targeting Tutsis, many Tutsis. Marc Darbin, French ambassador, in his telegram of January 4th, 1964, wrote a report that said this: in Gikongoro, Hutu people killed Tutsis indiscriminately. Until 25th December 1963, Tutsis, about 15,000 Tutsis had been killed. In December 31st, 1963, Ambassador Barbe explained how these killings were being done. He said this, that the politicians, the leadership had started killings. They mobilized prefets and with a minister who was sent by the government. They gave instructions even to the burgomasters on how to kill the enemy. These killings started on Christmas 1963, and those who survived those killings called it Bloody Christmas. Belgium then issued a communique February 7, 1964, saying this: based on the accusations against the Rwanda's government, it's high time, and through our embassy, that instructions be given to Belgian officials in Rwanda on how to conduct themselves given what's being done, the killings of Tutsis. The killings are now known internationally, so we need to make sure that Belgium is not accused of playing a role in this genocide. July 1st, 1962, Belgium gave a pseudo-independence with a constitution on November 24th, 1962, saying that the country belonged to the Hutus. Then there were instructions barring Tutsis from schools and jobs. And on January 17, 1967, the foreign minister, as instructed by President Kayibanda, this minister wrote to embassies and international organizations in Rwanda, telling them not to hire Tutsis. When Habyarimana took power, he brought another constitution in 1978, written by Philip Reyntjens, his advisor, reinforcing barring Tutsis in different places. In 1982, in October, Uganda expelled Rwandan refugees, and when they came to Rwanda, they were expelled to go back. And these injustices, this violence that I've been talking about, led the RPF to start the liberation struggle in October 1990. Belgium, France, and Congo sent their army to fight the RPF. President Habyarimana repeated this to the media, saying that Rwandan refugees would not go back. He said that on October 1st and 4th, saying, we can't give them 1 inch of our country. We will fight to the last drop of our blood. The Tutsis want to bring back slavery or feudality. They don't belong here. We don't have any space for them. They should stop complaining about the refugee status. They should remain where they are in Uganda and Zaire. Maybe they could come back for a brief period of time to see their loved ones. Between 1990 and 1994, Habyarimana's government smeared the RPF, saying they were the enemy of the country, they were bloodthirsty, saying that they are intent to exterminate the majority. Many people did not see the RPF as Rwandans. On February 3rd, 1991, and Mairo Langsad was the chief of staff of the French army and President Mitterrand's advisor, said that the RPF is made up of Ugandan Tutsis. And on April 22nd, 1991, he wrote another report saying that the RPF were a Uganda Tutsi rebel movement. We see what's happening today as people deny people their right to their own land, and this constitutes the crime of genocide. France supported this together with Belgium. Belgium added political clout, and the IDC political party supported the MRND in the killing. In January 1991, IDC hosted MRND envoys led by Habyarimana's advisor Enoch Ruhigira. They were hosted by Prime Minister Wilfred Martens, a political leader in IDC, Alain de Brouwer. Made a report in 1991 about this. He wrote the foreign minister, Mark Eiskens. He was requesting them to come together to fight the RPF. The MRND charged Carguera Mutke Sperancian Ferdinand Nahimana, the notorious leader in genocide and under the RTM radio, to support this action. In March 1993, André Louis from IDC wrote and agreeing with Leon Mugesera's speech in Kawaya. In January 1993, André Louis went to France to meet Mitterrand's political party, and they agreed to support the MRND in everything. They did this all the while they had evidence that the MRND and Habyarimana were preparing and planning the genocide between January 19th and March 1994. Lieutenant Nies, who was an intelligence officer within the UNAMIR from the Belgian contingent, he wrote about the planning of the genocide. But in February 1994, Belgium expelled Queen Gichanda, who was in Belgium seeking medical treatment. She came back to Rwanda and was killed on April 20th, 1994. They also left Tutsis who had sought refuge at Eto Kichukiro to be killed by the killers on April 11th, 1994. In July 1994, some Belgian MPs made an official trip to Goma and Bukavu, met the genocidal government and army, advised them to create a government in exile and a political party. It was a report that said how to speed up the repatriation of Rwandan refugees. This is a document of October 1994. And this is the foundation of today's FDLR that is continuing to kill people in this region together with the Congo government and the army. But since 2000, the United Nations took 40 resolutions against the FDLR, requesting countries to annihilate that rebellion. MONUSCO was to annihilate that rebel movement. Just like UNAMIR in 1993, 1994 did not stop the genocide in Rwanda. The European Union decided to eradicate the FDLR like they did in January 2008 and December 2010. The African Union took similar decisions like the one of January 2005 in the meeting of Summit of Heads of States in Libreville. So it's just stunning that some countries in 2025 are still being misled by Belgium and turn the blind to the criminal collaboration between DRC and the FDLR. These countries, they talk about respect for international law, but they only focus on DRC and they disregard Rwanda's security. They don't care about injustices against Congolese Tutsis who have been in exile since 31 years. Congo calls them puppets. This is just like what was happening between 1990 and 1994 by Habyarimana and his MRND calling the RPF the enemy of Rwanda, who are also Ugandan. In July 1994, same thing happened. As Mitterrand said, genocide in such countries is no big deal. Since July 1994, Belgium is the only European country where genocide denial against on genocide against the Tutsis is done impunely. However, nobody dares denying the Shoah and get away with it, even though these are genocides. All these are genocides legally, and punishing their denial should be taken seriously. There are many reports against Rwanda prepared by so-called Belgian experts, but they are the ones who played a role in the dark history of Rwanda, including that 1962 and 78 constitution and ethnic division. Philip Rengens brags about this on social media, saying that they need to bring an end to Rwanda's disrespectful behavior. Other countries like the UK have refused to extradite genocide suspects to Rwanda. As I move towards the conclusion, this endeavors to destroy Rwanda, there are many examples. But your leadership is still centered on the unity of Rwandans. We've lived to tell. We know that what we've achieved thanks to you. Our pact with you, we can't betray. We will not allow those people to turn us back into those dark ages. Our right to life, our choice are sovereign and non-negotiable. Those who want to diminish that should listen up and give up. Thank you, Your Excellency.
murakoze cyane minisita.
Thank you very much, Minister, for your presentation on the history of the genocide against the Tutsi. We have learned a lot. As we listened to some chapters of the history from the mouth of those who experienced it, and that should inspire us to fight against the genocide ideology and everything related to it. Your Excellency the President, I would like to invite one of the victims of the genocide who will come, survivor of the genocide, who will come and give his testimony. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic and the First Lady, thank you very much for granting me this opportunity to present my testimony and to explain to you how I survived the genocide against the Tutsi. My name is Mutango Hafredi. During the genocide, I was 18 years old. My parents were killed. My 4 sisters were killed. They were killed in the former Mabanza commune, which is today in the district of the Rutsiro in the cell of Mushubati. I will start my testimony, with your permission, with the memory of my parents. In 1973, the administration of the time killed Tutsis. Students and civil servants were expelled, and my father, who used to work for Caritas here in Kigali, was no exception. He was expelled. He ran away to Burundi. My mother, who was his fiancée, decided to follow him there. It was difficult. He passed through Gisenyi, then Goma, then through Uvira. She arrived in Burundi, and it took her 2 years to get there. They got married with the help of some elders who were refugees, and I was born in 1976. My mother and my father could not live together for very long, because shortly after my birth, my dad died in an accident. My mother was pregnant with a daughter, who is my sister, and thank God we survived together the genocide against the Tutsi in 1994. The refugee life was difficult for my mother. Therefore, she decided to return to Rwanda. She went to the former Bwakira commune in the district of Karongi currently. She remained at her home, at the home of her parents, but later on I came to learn that the intelligence institutions continued to persecute her, asking her about the Inyenzis that she had lived with in Burundi. She remarried in the Rutsiro area, which is currently Mushubati. He married a gentleman who had also lost his former wife, and who had 3 children. We lived together. I grew up there, and I studied there for my primary education. When I was in school, I came to learn about ethnic groups. As I was in primary 2, the teacher asked Tutsi pupils to get up. That exercise was carried out every term. There was a form from the government that the teachers had to fill, and the ethnic group of every child had to be mentioned. I was asked, I hesitated, and he came from forward. He asked me to get up, and he pulled my cheek, and he said, "Your mother is a teacher here, and you mean you don't know you are an Inyenzi?" I got up, and when we got home, I reported that to my mother, and I asked her why we became Tutsis. I don't remember what her answer was. I don't know if your parents, whether you would also find an answer to such a question. We were taught to hate as we were growing up. We were taught to be mean. We were taught that even in schools, at all levels, in different ways. Those who were in schools at my time, you remember the textbooks that we used to read? They were full of hate. There were some proverbs mentioning animal characters, but there was a lot of hate and cruelty. You remember those who did class 8? You remember that we were taught how to make clubs, how to make knives and such things. That continued until 1991 to 1993 as the multi-party system was instituted. The students spent their time taking place in rallies, political rallies, instead of focusing on their studies. During that time, many young people were made militants, were recruited in Impuza Migambi of CDR, were recruited into Interahamwe, and they were used to kill Tutsis during the genocide and to loot their property. On the 7th of April 1994, we heard very early in the morning the announcements from the government saying that people were to remain at home, and some songs were being played on the radio, and we heard that the plane carrying President Habyarimana had been shot down. We were confused. We did not know what to do. My parents asked me to go to the church in Mushubati. There were many Tutsi teachers in Mushubati. My parents sent me to ask if they had a plan. I went and met them and found everybody confused. They did not know what to do. However, some of them had started packing their belongings in order to go to the office of the commune in Mabanza because they had been told that's where they will be protected. I come back home and I found very many Interahamwe. Those Interahamwe militiamen had come to our home to ask for food and money. But they arrived at our home after killing the first Tutsi in our area. His name was Rwandekwe. I come home. When my mother saw me, she asked me what's the news? And I told her that the Tutsis are heading to Mabanza, and she told me, my son, we are encircled. We won't be able to leave this place. And she told me, my son, go and hide. She told me, hide at the home of Kankindi, an old lady who was our neighbor. After a few moments, Kankindi took me to a friend of mine called Peter. He had been a classmate in the primary school. I remained there. The Interahamwe continued to launch attacks over 6 days. During the evening, my mother would come and see me and encourage me and let me know that they're still alive. On the 13th of April, my mother came to see me in the evening, but she had changed. Her face was completely changed. She brought some 3 tomatoes, and she said, let us share these fruits, my son. A moment later, she looked me into the eyes and she said, if you survive, be a man, my son. She added nothing. A moment later, she got up and she said, I'm going to see the others. She knew what she was talking about because the attackers were at home, at our home, on the 14th, early in the morning, the 14th of April. The former burgomaster of Mabanza, Bagilishema Inyas. What really hurt me is that ICTR found him not guilty. He's now living in France. He came to our home. The Interahamwe were present, and others were continuing the attacks, and he said, clear this dirt. It was around 11 in the morning. The Interahamwe, the ones who call them Imihembezo, they came from Gafumba and other areas. It was around our area. They all met at our home. My family members tried to run, each one trying to find a hiding place. They chased them, found them. They also found me where I was, and we were gathered at the top of a mountain. I was lucky. I don't know what happened. One of the neighbors said, Dorothea, that was my mother, came here with 2 children, and those 2 children could be Burundians. And those who wanted to gather us and to kill us took the parents and the children, and they took them away. And I heard that my parents tried to pay the killers. They paid 5,000 francs because they wished to be shot instead of being killed differently. And the killer said the bullets are expensive, and they killed them instead with machetes and clubs. My sisters were thrown into a pit at Pastor Gasenge's home. He was also killed during the genocide. They were thrown in there alive, but they were first wounded, and some stones were thrown on them until they died. I and my sister, that same night, decided to flee that area and moved to a place called Urutare, Rwanda. Some people know the area, probably. In that area, the younger sister of my mother was there, and her husband was not among the targeted members of the population. She welcomed us. She told us, come in here. But that man also had trouble protecting his own wife. The attackers came to his home many times, accusing him of hosting some Inyenzi. I remember that twice the attackers came and they were given money. He gave them money, and a time came, he told us, look, please try to go away. I can't protect you anymore. But he gave us his identity card. At that time, he had 2 children, his identity card. The number of children were usually written in the identity card. And he had 2 children. And he told us, this is an identity card bearing the Hutu ethnic group. When you reach a roadblock, say you are my children. At that time, I changed my name. I took the name of Albert, and my sister became Ukubishaka. At some roadblocks, we would be able to pass easily. But on other roadblocks, people will say that this is another trick of the Nkotanyi. The walk was long. We walked from Mushubati to Kaduha in the former Gikongoro. We lived there among the refugees from Kigali, those from Gitarama, and even some students who were studying at Yave in Kaduha. And those students, many had committed the genocide because they had completed the acts of genocide in the church and others. The children, the students from Byumba, were extremely cruel, but we lived there with them. The area was part of Turquoise zone Turquoise. The Nkotanyi who stopped the genocide in many parts of the country could not reach zone Turquoise. The killings continued in zone Turquoise. They would kill people who had been hidden, and they would kill Hutus who had hidden some Tutsis. This went on until mid-July. We did not know that the Nkotanyi had stopped the genocide. We were desperate. We had despaired of surviving. There was a student from our area, from Mushubati. He came to pick up his things, and he called my name, my real name, Freddy. All the refugees started looking at me, but because they knew me as Albert, I realized things are getting serious. In the evening, we had been told that across the river, Mbirurome River, the Nkotanyi were there. So during the night, I took the decision, I decided to walk, and by morning, I had crossed the river. At sunrise, I crossed the river. I saw people on the other side. I walked towards them. And lo and behold, they were in Nkotanyi. I reached them exhausted, and I found there are 2 young men. And they asked me, where are you going? Where are you coming from? I explained to them how I reached those refugees, how I was there. And that was the first time I heard a word, an encouraging word. They said, take heart. You won't die anymore. And they asked me, where are you going? I'm going to Kigali. Do you know anyone there? I said, no. They said, in a moment, a Red Cross vehicle will pass here, and we will make sure it takes you. 2 hours later, approximately, the vehicle came, and I was given a lift. They dropped me at the bus station. I was told this is a bus station. I had been there once in the past. Now I have to start thinking about where to go. I remembered that there was an uncle who lived at Sejem in Gikondo. I had visited them in 1992. I thought it was a good idea to go and visit them. I arrived there. I found the family had been decimated and their home was in ruins. It was nighttime. I spent the night in those ruins. That's how I remembered what a soldier, an Inkotanyi soldier, had told me. In those ruins, in that night, I started thinking about my life. Before, I think my brain was not working. I was sad. I was thinking about my family. But the saddest thing that I had on my mind was my sister that I had left in the refugee camp. She didn't know that I left. Up to this day, I have not discussed with her about that chapter of our lives. She doesn't know how my life turned out in Kigali. The next day, I came to the bus stop. I came from Sejim, I came to the bus station, and I was extremely lucky to find to meet somebody who had been shepherd in our area. I met him. He had come to Kigali. He told me he had also survived, and he told me there are young men from Mushubati who are also survivors, and he took me there. We hugged each other. We were happy. And I told them what had happened to their respective families, because I was there during the genocide. They had left for Kigali. They did not know what happened. They were asking me, so and so, what happened? And I was telling them the fate of each and every individual, because I had the news and I knew what had happened. Later on, I met an uncle who had fled from Burundi, who had returned from exile. He kept me in his house. His neighbor was a soldier called Mutabazi, who was a captain. That's what he told me. I explained to him how I had left my sister among the refugees. And he told me, he walks like an Inkotanyi. He asked me, where is it exactly? And I explained. The next day, he took me to that place, and he helped me in extracting my sister from the refugees. It was a miracle, and she was also brought to Kigali. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic, I would like to thank you. The Inkotanyi told us that we will survive, and we did survive. They gave us back a hope to live. After my sister was found, again, that's when I decided to go back to school. I thank the government of national unity for having stabilized the country and enabled young children to go back to school. I went back to my school. When I reached there, I found many orphans who were despaired, who did not know what to do, and there was a lot of poverty around. The government played the role of a parent, of our parents. The government replaced the parents. It created FARS. They gave us everything that we needed in order to be able to grow and to continue studying. I would like to thank you for that. The foundation that our government gave us in order to survive is a pact. It's a pact that we cannot betray. We have to teach this to ourselves and to our children. Truly speaking, we used to dress up, but we would not feel smart. But today, we feel and look smart. On the other hand, we have become men. What my mother told me, I'm sure many survivors heard that from their parents. We are men now. As I speak, I have a wife. I have 5 children. Your Excellency, with your permission, the remaining part will be spoken in English.
Continue my testimony in English. I want to share my testimony, but also my experience of working here at Kigali Genocide Memorial. And I want to share with you what this memorial means for me. This memorial has been more than a workplace. It's my home. It's a home for me. Working here has transformed me deeply. trying to learn and understand my history, the history of my country, explain the root cause of genocide against Tutsi, trying to share the transformation journey of my country from the ashes of genocide to a peaceful nation. It has been a very positive journey for me. But this memorial has a huge meaning for the international visitors that I receive all day, every day. This memorial provides an historical clarity. They come here to learn and they bear witnesses. They go back transformed. They're transformed by what they see and what they hear. They take these stories, our stories, the stories of genocide, the stories of reconstruction, across the borders and through generations. I want to extend my profound gratitude to the government of Rwanda for establishing the memorials around the country. It is such act of humanity. While the perpetrators, they left their victims unburied, no respect, no dignity. They attempted to erase their humanity by establishing the memorials, such as Kigali Genocide Memorial. It's a profound and a powerful statement that they failed. The memorials here, the memorial here at Kigali Genocide Memorial, it's a place of healing for my fellow survivors, by myself as well. To conclude, through our pain, we find a purpose of life. Through commemorations and remembrance, a date like this, Your Excellency, you never miss for the last 31 years. Through your message, comforting message, and a powerful and profound message, Your Excellency, we find our strengths. This is what means memorization for humanity. Acknowledging the past, the dark past of our history, but also affirming our commitment to light. Murakoze cyane kunyumva.
Thank you for listening to me. Let us continue to remember as we rebuild our lives.
Murakoze cyane Mutanguha Freddy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mutanguha Freddy, for your testimony. It's true, it's not easy to testify, but you've proven that it's possible to renew and to be resilient. Right now, we want to ask Nyundo School of Music to play a song. Thank you.
Two, three, four.
amahoro tuzamura akavura imiko gakeya. Tuzamure gato cyane nk'icumi. Arrangement. Hasi. Arrangement itu kan, wow. Tujye kuzamuka twagiye. Komeza ucurange nukuremo groove. Aho tugiye kuvamo.
abaririmbyi.
We thank the musicians, Your Excellency the President of the Republic, all of us here and everyone following. We're waiting to hear your remarks for today. Over to you. Good afternoon, everyone. I think it's somehow easy for me to have an entry point here. I will start with the history that Minister Vizimana has talked about. He gave a very thorough analysis that was evidence-based. I also want to thank you all all of you present here who are joining Rwandans, especially I'm talking about you who came in from abroad in different countries, or those of you representing your countries in our country. I thank you because quite often what we see is that the truth is no longer the basis for everything. And that's why, well, let me put it this way. A friend of mine once asked me, you see, as a human being, how do you live? Well, I will say some things in a foreign language as well. But he asked me, how do you bring together
and the cruel present? How do you manage that? ariko uko nabyumvaga,
but the question was put to me, but the friend was putting the question to all of Rwandans. How do you manage that as Rwandans?
a dark past and a very cruel present. Icyo namushubije,
And my answer was that
we were under an illusion that the two were siblings and we had to deal with them as such. You have to deal with the cruel present, knowing that it is very, very much related to the dark past. They are inseparable. So for us, we have a choice to make. You are either crushed in between and you stop existing, or you stand up and fight. When people are saying in the testimony that the hope they have and that what happened here 30-something years ago will never happen again. It won't be because of those who were responsible for that dark past will not try again, or are not even trying now again. It will not happen again just because there will be people who will stand up and fight. It's not because there are fewer people who wish to perish, or who would have wished us all to disappear, this country to disappear. But how can people accept that? How can people not stand up and fight? Because anyway, well, there is a risk you may die when you stand up to fight. But if you don't, it's a sure thing you are going to die. So why don't I try the former? Why don't I try to stand up and fight with the chance that you might survive and live on your life as you want it, instead of giving up and you let people treat you as if for you to live, it's a favor that they are going to do for you. Why? I've also had people come to me and warn me and say, President, you know you are too vocal, you say things that challenge these people who have the power in their hands, and they're going to kill you. Well, first of all, it means they're killers. But my answer to them is, you know what? If I were to be there to just accept these things to happen, I don't think I would count myself as living anyway. It's like I would already be dead. To live a life of lies, of pretense, and all my life to somebody else, I would be dead anyway. So why don't I die fighting? So you Rwandans, why don't you die fighting? Instead of dying anyway, just dying like flies. Why? My message goes to other Africans who live like this on a daily basis, who are dehumanized. And they accept it and they beg. I can't beg to live. I can't beg anybody. We will fight. If I lose, I lose. But there is a chance. There is a chance, a significant chance, that if you stand up and fight, you will live. And you will have lived a dignified life that you deserve, that anybody else deserves. So these people who are there to the UN, they are there to these Western capitals, they are everywhere, they are just saying, Rwanda, this small country, this Rwanda. I mean, you see, when you're talking about Rwanda and ganging up together against Rwanda, you think it's some country that is, I don't know. Then when I remember the facts about it, I just imagine the world has gone amok. But in the midst of all that, we have to live. We have to live our lives, we have to fight for that, we have to live the way we want. And I tell anybody to his face to go to hell. If anyone comes around and thinks they can, you know, they come and say, hey, we're going to sanction you. To what? Go to hell. Just go to hell. You have your own issues to deal with. Go and deal with your own issues. Leave me to mine. This is the spirit, I think, Rwandans must have in their daily lives. So my worry is not about how powerful these people are that come down upon us and throw anything at us. I'm never worried about that. I worry about one thing, which has lived on for centuries. It's for Rwandans. It's for Africans who sit back and find nothing wrong with accepting to be treated like that. That's my only worry. When can Rwandans, when can Africans refuse to be mistreated like this? To be told they have no value, to be told that their lives have to be lived as a result of a favor they are being done by somebody else. What a shame for people to accept that even for a moment. You must not accept it. You must get up and fight for yourself. And then you have fools leading countries and being used as puppets. And they are stealing from their own resources, which they should be putting to the good use of their own people and develop them. They just put everything to their own use, find billionaires in a sea of poverty, millions of people going hungry, and their leaders, billionaires, money that has been stolen from the resources of these people, and these are the ones received in Western capitals and praised, and when, Rwanda is being crucified literally at the UN, everywhere, these are the ones who show up and everybody is doing their bidding. They don't talk. These ones don't even say a thing. There is somebody to say it for them. You don't say a thing. Even in meetings where solutions are being thought about and crafted and so on, they are absent because somebody else is there. They are addressed there. When their name comes up, they say, no, no, no. You see, I see it on a daily basis. Somebody has agents, orders them, pays them to go everywhere preaching hate speech, killing people in broad daylight, setting fire on these people, burning in broad daylight. And when it comes up for discussion, they say, no, 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 it's not this one. No, 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 no. You see some other people, we look for them. But the person keeps coming up. He says, no, 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 I will take the war to Kigali, I'll remove the government, these Tutsis, we are tired of them, like they were tired of them 31 years ago. Here. And it's okay. These wonderful people, these powerful people who tell us what to do and what not to do, they are okay with that. They are fine with that. And they expect us to accept it also ourselves. In broad daylight. Hate speech, killings of people for their identity, uprooting them from their homes, and most of them are refugees here in this country. We have 125,000 people as refugees who have been living in camps, uprooted from their homes in Eastern Congo. And then these powerful, good people come here and pick 1, 2, 3, another day 5, if there are many, to go and settle them in those beautiful countries of theirs. And they leave the majority here. And they expect us to be thankful that that's a huge gesture of generosity. First of all, they take them knowing that these are actually refugees from a neighboring country. They don't take them as Rwandans. They take them as refugees from Congo. Only that they are taking very few. They are not, I wish they could take all of them. Those who wish to go and resettle them. So the rest becomes my problem. So what they have to do is cleanse Eastern Congo of all these people, bring them to Rwanda, take to your countries those you want, few, very few, not even 0.1%, and the rest should remain Rwanda's problem. Because after all, these ones are Tutsis like Kagame. That's a simple conclusion. But ask yourselves, how did these people end up being across the border of Rwanda? Was it really done by Kagame? Was it done by Rwanda? No, for us, we are here lucky that we are alive, that we survived. So, but as I say this, even for my sanity and the country's sanity, we have sometimes to just try to do things differently. Meaning, if you want to be helpful, if you want us to be partners, we are happy to play our part, and you can be sure you will find a reliable partner in us, irrespective of what we think about you. You know, this whole thing you see every day, you know, you have heard of groups, what is it? Group of experts. You have heard of that thing? These are people who go around, experts who are supposed to know better our situation than ourselves. Can you imagine? And the ones who lead those groups are the very people connected with this history I'm talking about, or that Bizimana was talking about. Can you imagine the cynicism? And this expert comes to me and asks me, you know, but this, so the whole thing about genocide, this ideology that has killed millions of people, has been turned into a problem of minerals. You know, it's okay. Let's imagine it's a problem of minerals now. Was it a problem of minerals in 1994? Which minerals were we fighting for here? Just imagine. Which minerals? Second, if it were to be minerals, how many are actually fighting for these minerals in those places, assuming you found evidence about Rwanda being implicated in what's happening in Congo for minerals in Eastern Congo? Are you really saying it is just Rwanda. Why don't you be brave enough to say Rwanda is invading our territory we have created for ourselves and is encroaching on the minerals we are also encroaching on in Eastern Congo? Why don't you be brave enough to admit that? At least to say that. Minerals? If what is the allegations, if these allegations were true, you know what? Rwanda would be as rich as you are, those who make the accusations. Actually would not be needing your money at all. Which you give us nothing and you come and beat us up for for everything. I mean, yeah, that is the world between the dark past and the cruel present. But what didn't kill us and finish us 21 years ago has hardened us, has prepared us for the bad things that will always come anytime these people want and wish. Honestly, I want to assure you we will not die not fighting like last time. And fighting does not involve invading anybody's territory, does not involve going after something that is not ours. Fighting, I mean, is if you find us here and want to treat us the way you want that we have seen in the past, I just want to assure you, you will not succeed. You will not succeed. I think I beg all these Rwandans, we should be itching for a fight with anybody who wants to come here and turn things upside down. And I think there are many who are ready to join for that. But for our friends, our partners, please don't misunderstand us, don't mistreat us. We have had enough of it. Take it somewhere else. Take it somewhere else. You know, this Bizimana who was telling you this whole history, by the Bizimana, if you could compile that and distribute it to our friends and all of us. I actually want a copy of what you, but I think you should give our friends and others, they need to, much as in the cruel present, facts don't matter, evidence doesn't matter, The truth doesn't matter. What matters is what pleases you on any day, and doesn't matter what facts about others. But and I was saying this because this Wisman made another presentation another time that involved the same people he was talking about. And the next day, from embassies, people came to him, threatening him. You know, they even, they're so foolishly brave to just, you know, they went to him. And I think another message went through Foreign Affairs. It's like this man who is saying this, and he was not saying it is not true, but he was saying no for daring to say it, even if it is the truth. Yes, they threatened him, and they even started threatening he will not get a visa to travel to some places, face to face, like that. Somebody from the embassy threatening our minister. Of course, I can't blame them that, given this history we have had, that from the embassy they even think they are above the minister. Yeah. He just come and say, you dare say this. He wasn't saying, this is contrary to the truth or evidence we have. Why did you present lies? No. He was just saying, whether lies or truth, you shouldn't have said it. That is the cruel present we live in, but we must confront it, and we will. We shall. No question about it. I've also told people that anyway, for us, we are in a sort of not bad position, because the worst has already happened to us. I don't think anything worse will happen, ever. So those who are scared, fearful of anything, I just want to console you in some way, if you may, that actually the worst has already passed. When we lost the people during that time, the young man was giving a testimony about. Do you think anything like that would ever happen again? I don't think so. So why would we be scared of anything? The worst. The hurricane came and we took cover and things, and it has passed. And we rebuilt. We rebuilt our strength of all kinds. I don't think there is any other hurricane that will come and sweep across the country, destroying everything. I don't think so. So, and this day always reminds us of some of the things that I ignored and the facts that remember the book written by somebody many of you know, Philip Gurevich, with a very long title. When he, and this is a man who, well, at least I would have wished if they could think of such a man and put him in the group of experts. maybe they would benefit from, but you bring somebody just because she comes from a country that colonized Rwanda and that becomes the expert, I think that's not serious. But he said that the title of the book was, "We wish to inform you that tomorrow will be killed with our families." You know, who were they informing? And who was going to stop that? And who was going to come to their rescue? Nobody. It just happened as they said it. People kept telling the world, "We want to inform you that tomorrow we're going to be killed with all our families." And who cared? And the families were killed indeed, including the family of the young man who was testifying here. Well, including our families, those of us standing here who have been demonized every single day about our history. The history where there is a force that always has been attempting to turn victims into perpetrators. So these people who give testimonies and say what happened to them, they are actually now perpetrators. They are no longer victims. So the cynicism I was talking about of what happens in this world is that these very people who barely survived and who lost everything else and their families are now the victims, the perpetrators, no longer victims. That's what the world wants to create about us. I think I should, even for, again, the sake of our sanity, maybe we'll always, you know, during the war times, to keep my own balance, you know, there used to be battles taking place across the country, militias killing people, RPA soldiers fighting government forces. Sometimes in our movements, we would, one of the commanders would come to me and say, "President, you come and see what has happened here." I went there once and saw a mass grave that they had just dug with caterpillars and been, I think they had put in over 2,000 people. And from that lot, we found 12 people are still breathing. And we got them out. I was told the other day of the 12, I think they lived for some time, and then now there are remaining 7 out of 12. I kept following the story. 7 are still alive. I think 5 died of. But from that moment, I told the commanders that they should never bring my attention to this kind of thing. They should just handle it, and we agreed how they will be handling it. But I should never, I don't even need to be informed or, and the reason was simple. And unfortunately, such a moment of remembrance sort of takes you back into that. But the reason was I didn't want my judgment and my conduct of the war and the leadership I was supposed to be providing to be impaired in any way by the anger, by what you saw. So that's why I wanted to keep my own balance so that we go through so many things. But otherwise, if I kept seeing this, putting people out of a mass grave, and then your mind goes to say, but who is this doing? Whoever is doing this, why is he doing it? He may end up. So anyway, let me end here. There will always be another day, another year to commemorate our lost people. But for Rwandans, I beg you, don't you owe your life to anybody else. And please have the courage to deal with the situation and moment as it is. Don't offend anybody, but always fight for what is yours. Don't allow anybody else to dictate to you how you should live your life, because the moment you accept it, that is the day you have lost your life. God bless you.
Murakoze.
Thank you, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic, for your message. We Rwandans will live in the way we want our life to be, Your Excellency and the First Lady, honorable dignitaries, dear Rwandans and friends of Rwanda. Once again, thank you for being with us as we launch this commemoration week and 100 days of remembrance. And tonight there will be a walk to remember in the evening from Gasabo district to BK Arena for the night of remembrance. And we've come to the end of the function we had here. So please rise as the president exits the venue.
Munyemerere kandi tube tugumye mu byicaro byacu.
Please remain in your seats for a little while. Let's keep remembering as we rebuild our lives.